Good evening, everyone. We're happy to have you here with us today. We're just giving a few more seconds for people to pop on live. I'd like to welcome you all here this evening to join us. My name is Angela Woods, and I am the Education Support Services Coordinator with the Athabasca Tribal Council. We'd like to welcome you here with ATC's first author series and share this amazing experience with you. And the purpose for this author series is to encourage reading at home, to build literacy skills, and to build connectedness within the home setting and make reading fun for children and families. Members of the ATC received a copy of one of Richard's books called Little You. And you also received a cookie to match the book from Evermore Kookie while you're reading the book. Tonight, you will listen to Richard talk about his experiences with literacy, his life journey, and listen to him read his book, Little You, and a couple other books that he would like to present to you. And once the presentation is over, there will be an opportunity for a Q&A panel. So please feel free to stay on and take part and ask some questions that you would like to ask Richard. So now I'd like to introduce you to Richard Van Camp. He is a Tlicho writer of the DENE Nation from Fort Smith, Northwest Territories. He is best known for his 1996 novel, The Lesser Blessed, which was adapted into a film by director Anita Duran in 2012. He is the author of 26 books in 26 years. That's a lot of books. Good job. In the past several years, Richard has been the storyteller of residence for Calgary Public Library and the writer in residence for the Metro Federation of Edmonton Libraries. And he's also been the writer in residence at the University of Alberta, Yellowhead Tribal College, and MacEwan University. He's also been the writer in residence at the University of Fraser Valley in Abbotsford. And so with that, I'd like to pass on the virtual podium for Richard to begin. So thank you all for joining us here today.
Oh, Mussy Cho. Thank you, Angela. Let's give Angela a round of applause. Mussy Cho, thank you. Donate, Sagya Mussy, my friends. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Richard Van Camp. I'm from Treaty 8 country. I was born and raised in Fort Smith, Northwest Territories. I love my life. I'm so grateful to all of you for being here today. I'm so grateful that you've chosen to share some time with us. I want to share some beautiful stories with you tonight. I actually want to read a few of my books to you tonight. I'm really grateful that you're all receiving copies of Little You, which is a dream come true for me. The illustrator and master artist is Julie Flett, and to work with Julie Flett is always a dream come true. I was actually talking to Julie Flett on the phone yesterday, and we also have a little book out together called We Sang You Home, which I'm going to read to you. But I'm going to open with a song. I want to sing to you. You know, I'm so happy. Before I sing to you, let me just introduce myself properly. So my name is Richard Van Camp. I was born on September 8th, 1971. I'm 50 now, 50 years old. And man, am I really, look at this. I don't know what to tell you. I'm like a little silver tip here. I wish I could say I look like Richard Gere in his prime, but I think that I don't know if I can pull that off. The reason that I wanted to share my hair with you today is I showed up and I thought I looked great in my moose hide vest and my Star Wars moccasins. I've got my little Stormtrooper moccasins on here. Got my Millennium Falcon lit up for you. I've got my little glow in the dark moon. I always bring out my best for company. And I really just want to visit with you. But the reason I bring up my hair is I live in Edmonton with our little family, my little boy Adzazi and my wife Kiwi. And we had a huge snowstorm today. Those of you who are in Edmonton or Northern Alberta probably got a big dump of snow. So we were outside this afternoon. And so I'm showing up tonight with two care. I apologize. Forgive me. But the best part of being a father to a 7-year-old little one is that I was just saying to Angela that children pull you onto the dance floor of life. And I really want to honor the little people. I really want to honor our young people because I have a friend named Geraldine Minosa who's Cree, and she passed on a teaching to me that she received. And I think that this teaching really guided me in the writing of Little You and Welcome Song for Baby and We Sang You Home. Geraldine Minosa was sharing with me that when she was expecting her little one, like my wife and I, we didn't want to know if we were going to have a little boy or a little girl. We wanted to be surprised. And Geraldine, when she was in her last trimester, was at a powwow, and this she had a craving for fry bread and an Indian taco. So as she was walking to get her food, there was a medicine man who reached out and really gently, just really gently touched her tummy, and he said, "My girl, you're going to have a son." And that's a good thing, because when a woman gives birth to a little boy, her son becomes her greatest teacher. When a woman gives birth to a little girl becomes her father's greatest teacher. He said, "Your little teacher is on his way." And I never forgot that. You know, we call children students, but they are teachers. They are absolutely teachers. And our little boy Idzazi in Clecho DENE, his name Idzazi means marrow. And the reason we chose a traditional name is I've always felt that, you know, marrow is the heart of the bone. I've always felt that children are the hearts of our family. So I just really wanted to include all of you in my prayers tonight before I go to bed. I want to just honor you as cousins, as relations, as human beings. I'm so grateful to be here as a storyteller and as an author. People say, "How did you become a writer? When did you become a writer? When did you become a storyteller?" Well, let's start at the beginning. So, born September 8th, 1971, in Fort Smith, Northwest Territories. I just called there a couple hours ago. I was talking to my auntie, Marlene Evans. Um, I was born, I've known her my whole life. I love her so very much. So, born in a little community, probably like a lot of you. Fort Smith is 2,500 people. We're officially quadrilingual. What that means is Chipewyan, French, Cree, and English are spoken at any given time. So when we see the moon in Chipewyan, the moon is Kalaza. Kalaza. Archie Smith, this beautiful Chipewyan trapper, taught us that. Venus, who's out in the morning in Bush Cree, is Oginans. Oginans. And that was taught to us by Flora Grand Jam. Oginans is Venus, and the Northern Lights is Naka. Naka, that's our language, Tlicho Dene. And also, Fort Smith, Northwest Territories is the Métis capital of the Northwest Territories. So we have a lot of Métis and we have Michif. So in Michif, the word for cat is la minouche. La minouche. And growing up, my dad, Jack Van Camp, taught at Arctic College, which is now Aurora College. So we had a lot of students from across Denendeh, the Northwest Territories, Western NWT. We also had a lot of students from the Eastern Arctic or Nunavut. So a lot of our friends growing up were Inuit. And so I always love when the Inuit get too hot, because in Inuktitut they go, "Oko, Oko," for too hot. So I was so lucky to grow up in Fort Smith because it is such a small community. Everybody knows everybody. You know, I used to drive the handy bus there. I used to drive our elders around. I was a paper boy. I used to deliver the Slave River Journal. I used to deliver the Edmonton Journal. I worked at the Slave River Journal in the dark room, our little hometown newspaper. I was a babysitter. I used to guard prisoners for the RCMP. You name it, I've probably done it in Fort Smith in terms of work. But as I was growing up, you know, I loved Judy Blume and S.E. Hinton and Stephen King. I was always a reader. But somewhere along the way, I started to say to myself, you know, I love Stephen King. I love Judy Blume. I love you. Conan. I love everything comics and pop culture. I started to realize no one was telling our stories our way. No one was telling our stories. So, you know, Fort Smith, we're the nickname capital of Canada. We're the hickey capital of Canada. We can two-step to anything. We're very romantic. We are very witty, very funny, very generous. We're like the hobbits of Canada. All we want to do is cook for our guests and treat you right and pamper you and spoil you. And the day I became, I think, a listener was a day I'd like to share with you. So my dad used to teach at Aurora College. He was the head instructor at the Renewable Resources Technology program for Arctic College. My mom worked in a number of capacities. She worked at the Friendship Center, worked for the government. She was a teacher. Um, But when my dad would go out in the bush for Sioux Lake or winter camp with Arctic College, he would hire these bush cooks. The two that were my favorite were David King, he was a Chipewyan bush cook, and Maria Brown. And David King could cook for 20 or 200 people at the drop of a hat. He was born to cook, and I know you know what I'm talking about. Bless the chefs. So to have um, David King in our life as a family friend was really just the most amazing thing because we'd go out in the bush with my dad at the Sioux Lake Bush Camp, and we'd be out there for maybe, I think, 3 or 4 weeks, maybe 3 weeks when we were kids. And we'd be out at this beautiful bush camp with all these students from across the Northwest Territories. And we would learn boat safety and gun safety and chainsaw safety and plant identification and rappelling and portaging. But the best part of all that was the cooking and the eating, because either Maria Brown or David King were cooking for us. But when we would be back in Fort Smith, David King would always stop by to visit us, and he would push my mom and dad out of the kitchen and he would start to cook and he would start to tell stories. And David King really loved my little brother Raj. He really adored my little brother. But the thing is, he could never remember Roger's name, so he kept calling him Rodney. Where's Rodney? Where's my little Rodney? And he'd grab my brother and he'd put my brother up on the counter, and he'd say, Rodney, how do you want your bannock? Do you want berries? Do you want raisins? And my little brother would boss him around. And it was so beautiful to see how much this big Chipewyan bush cook loved this little boy. It was really beautiful, really, really beautiful. And so growing up, I was really aware that my little brother had this magic about him, that he just charmed elders and bush cooks. But the day I became a listener was we had in Fort Smith, some of you who've been there, Fort Smith, we're really lucky because we have buffalo 40 miles one way, we have bison 40 miles the other way. We've got whooping cranes, sandhill cranes, we've got pelicans up from the Gulf of Mexico. We've got Losh and Whitefish and the Slave River, and they say we're the third best place in the world to see the Northern Lights. I believe it. I believe it. But we had this cinnamon bear when I was around 7 or 8, that was wandering in and around our community. And the phone would ring and someone would say, oh, that cinnamon bear is out by the Caribou Trailer Court. And I'd hop on my bike and I'd pedal out there because I really wanted to see this cinnamon bear. I'd always heard about them, but every time I'd get there, it would have taken off back in the bush. And I was starting to get a little bit upset about this because everybody else got to see the cinnamon bear but me. And I remember I came home one day and I was quite upset because I'd pedaled all the way out to some part of town, and the cinnamon bear had come and appeared and shown itself to a couple people and had taken off. So I came home and I remember just kind of throwing my little BMX bike down and stomping into the house. And David King was there, and he was cooking for my parents and for little Rodney. And I said, "Oh, hello, David." And he said, "Hello, nephew." And I said, "Hello, Raj." He said, "Hey, bro." And my mom and dad were in the living room. And David looked at me and he said, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "Oh, sorry, Uncle." I said, "It's just that cinnamon bear is in and around town, and I keep driving out on my bike to go see it. I really want to see that bear, and it never shows itself to me, and I'm just a little bit sad about it." And David King looked at me and he said, "Nephew, you have to be very careful around bears." And I said, "Oh, why?" He said, "Because a bear always knows what you're thinking. A bear always knows what you're thinking." And when you look at my life, when you look at 27 books in 27 years and everything I've been able to do, it all goes back to that moment. Because when he said that to me, I felt that ancient Clicho DENE blood inside of me wake up. I felt that dog rib royalty inside of me wake up. And I realized in that moment that all the wisdom in the world that I was born to listen to and learn from was not written in any book. It was not in any textbook. It was not in any classroom. It was with the elders. It was with those who know. It was with the knowledge keepers. And I remember when he said that, a bear always knows what you're thinking. What happened was, I just remember my soul waking up. It was an aha, an epiphany. And he said, nephew, every animal is born with medicine power. Every person is born with medicine power. Your job in this life is to figure out what your medicine power is and to develop it. Never be afraid to ask for help, and you share your medicine with the world. That's why we're here, nephew. And that started me on my journey of listening and asking. And that's why I became the handy bus driver. That's why I've been interviewing so many elders all these years. And I couldn't have written Welcome Song for Baby or Little You or The Lesser Blessed or We Sang You Home had it not been for the elders in my life. And my wish for you all is that you find the right people to guide you and to comfort you and to uplift you and to inspire you. So, and before I begin with the reading and the singing, I'll just share with you a couple other things I learned. So remember what David King said, this beautiful Chippewan bushcook. Every animal was born with medicine power. You know, I met Lorne Machia, who is from Assumption. Some of you probably know Lorne, and he was sharing with me that to the DENE, they believe that every eagle has three shadows. Every eagle has three shadows. And he told me his grandfather, his late grandfather, was the last man alive who knew how to go up and grab all three shadows of an eagle for the purpose of ceremony. And my friend Morningstar Mercurdy from Fort Chip shared with us. She said one day that frogs are the keepers of rain. Frogs are the keepers of rain. Every time it rains, it's because the frog people have called that rain. The creator gave them that gift. And if you have frog song in your community, if you hear frogs in the spring and summer and the fall before they hibernate, that's a blessing, because where there's frogs, there's clean water. Where there's frogs, there's clean water. If the frogs ever leave, if the frog people ever leave your community, your water is not safe to drink. Where there's frogs, there's clean water. I never forgot that. And you know, a long time ago, I was on Salt Spring Island in British Columbia, and there's a lady who owns this huge, beautiful pottery studio. And I was there. It's at Fulford Harbor. I was waiting for my friend to come and get me, and I ended up wandering into this little pottery barn. And I noticed that everything that this lady made, whether it was a cup or a ladle or a beautiful vase, everything was honoring dragonflies. The ladles were dreaming dragonflies with their wings folded, and I just thought that was beautiful. Every plate had a little carving of a sleeping, dreaming dragonfly. And so after a while, the lady who was the master potter, she came up to me. She goes, "Hello," and I said, "Hi," and she said, uh, "You know, you're new here. I've never seen you before." I said, "Oh, I'm waiting for my friend to come and get me." And I said, "I really want to honor you." I said, "I just think that this is so beautiful. I've never seen, you know, in British Columbia, I've never seen anyone honoring the dragonfly people." And she said, "Well," she goes, "I know their secret." I said, "You know their secret?" She goes, "I know their secret." I said, "Well, what's their secret?" She says, "I'm not going to tell you." I said, "Come on." I said, "Don't be cheap. Tell me about the dragonfly people." She says, "Well, do you have any secrets?" I said, "Yeah, I got lots of secrets." She says, "You trade me three secrets about animals, and I'll trade you the one about dragonflies." I said, "Okay." I said, "Number one, a bear always knows what you're thinking." I said, "In fact, they say in Fort Smith, if you put your moccasins on the wrong feet and turn your jacket inside out and backwards, a bear will follow you home. A bear will follow you home." And she went, "Wow. A bear always knows what you're thinking. And if you put your moccasins on the wrong feet and turn your jacket inside out and backwards, a bear will follow you home." I said, "Yeah." She said, "That only counts as one because it's about a bear." I said, "Okay." I said, "Number two," I said, "frogs are the keepers of rain." My friend Morningstar Mercury told me frogs are the keepers of rain. Every time it rains, it's the frog people that have called the rain. The creator has gifted that for them. And I shared with them that, where there's frogs, there's clean water. And she listened and she was like, oh my goodness, that's so beautiful. Okay, that only counts as two because that's about the frogs. I said, oh, my friend Lorne Machia told me that every eagle has three shadows. His grandfather was the last man alive who knew how to harvest all three of those shadows for the purpose of ceremony. And she was, oh, beautiful. And she said, okay, all right. She goes, well, I'll tell you the secret of dragonfly. She says, but it doesn't matter because you're not going to be able to remember it. And I said, what do you mean? She says, well, everybody I tell it to, no one can remember it because our minds are so busy. And I said, well, I'm Richard Van Camp. I'm from Fort Smith, Northwest Territories. We live for stories. We live to hear stories. I said, I'm going to clear my mind right now. I said, tell me the secret of dragonflies and I'll say it right back to you. She says, okay. She said, dragonflies are the revivers of snakes and they can sew the lips shut of any child who's just told their first lie. If you know what to do with their wings, you can get anyone in the world to fall in love with you. You need dragonfly wings for love medicine. And I said, oh, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. Dragon. Oh my goodness. And she says, well, I don't know why you're saying you're never going to remember what I just said. I said, oh, you kidding me? I said, dragonflies are the revivers of snakes, and they can sew the lips shut of any child who's just told their first lie. If you know what to do with their wings, you can get anyone in the world to fall in love with you. You need dragonfly wings for love medicine. She couldn't believe it. I said, you've met a listener. And, as a writer, they say if you want to be a better writer, you have to become a better reader. You have to become a better reader before you can become a better writer. And to become a better storyteller, you have to become a better listener. And that's why when you're in the presence of a listener, they're really listening to how you're telling a story. And I know you're all listeners. I know you're all listening, and you're going to remember this. And I really want to honor Bradley Hunt, who's a beautiful Haitian carver in British Columbia. My dear friend Katrina Chappell, a long time ago, was given a silver bracelet, beautiful West Coast silver bracelet. And so she went to Bradley and she asked him, she said, I want to commission you to carve something in there for me. I've always wanted to just treat myself. I've done so much in my life. And Bradley said, well, what do you do? Tell me about your life. And they went for a long walk. And so my friend Katrina is a healer. She's an acupuncturist. She's retired nurse. She worked for years at Victoria General. And by the time they were done their walk, he said, I know exactly what I'm going to carve for you, Katrina. He said, come back in a couple weeks. He says, give me a couple weeks. I really want to get this right. It's going to take some time. And so a couple weeks later, we went back and Bradley gave her back her beautiful West Coast bracelet. And he had these dancing butterflies, beautiful dancing butterflies that he carved in the silver bracelet. And Katrina was so stunned. She says, oh my God, these are so beautiful. Thank you, Bradley. Thank you so much. She says, I got to ask you this question. I mean, I thought maybe I would have an eagle or a blackfish or a two-headed, I'm really surprised that these are beautiful, precious butterflies. Why did you choose to honor me with butterflies? And he said, because in our culture, butterflies are guardians for lost souls. Butterflies are guardians for lost souls. And he said, you work with people who are trying to find their way out of their addictions, right? You're a guardian for lost souls and you're doing beautiful work. And I just thought that was so beautiful. So I really wanted to honor you with those teachings. And I know that you have your own stories about the animals wherever you live. And I just wanted to honor the late and great David King because he really set me on a good path by saying that every person is born with medicine power. Every person is born with gifts. And our job and our role in this life and our joy in this life, our privilege in this life is to develop those gifts. Never be afraid to ask for help. And then you share those gifts with the world. So I want to sing you a little song. This is Welcome Song for Baby. Before I sing Little You to you, I want to sing this to you. So this is Welcome Song for Baby. I'm really proud to be published with Orca Book Publishers and McKellar and Martin for my baby books. And I get to work with my friends and heroes. I get to work with Julie Flett and beautiful photographers. And I'll show you something. I'll let you in on a secret. This is my brother Roger. Wait, this is Roger. Remember what David King called him? Called him Rodney. So this is little Rodney, my brother Roger. Really proud of my brother Rod. He's a lawyer for the Human Rights Commission in Yellowknife. So he really sticks up for people. And this is his little boy, Shaden. This is my nephew. And this was taken, it was 40 below in Yellowknife. And this was taken in my mom's basement by my auntie, Tessa McIntosh. And Shaden was brand new. And I love this photo so very much. And I love working with, artists and publishers who just do their very best to honor the song or the lullaby or the message that I've had the privilege of coming up with. So I'm going to sing this to you. This is Welcome Song for Baby, a lullaby for newborns. I want to sing this to all the little ones that are with us tonight. I want to sing this to the sacred dancing child in each and every one of you. I'm so lucky I get to work with George Littlechild. We have two beautiful kids' books out, A Man Called Raven, and What's the Most Beautiful Thing You Know About Horses. And actually, this vest is by Berna Bolio, who's Tlicho Dene. I had this made for George Littlechild, but guess what? George Littlechild started hitting the weights, and he got big, beautiful cream muscles. And his arms are so big, his 8-pack is magnormous, and he can't fit this vest. And I had this made. It took Berna 18 months to make this beautiful moose hide vest for George. Oh, hi. Can everybody hear me? Everybody? I hope everyone can hear me. Is that okay? Angela, can you just give me the... Yep, we're good? Okay, good. That makes me happy. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I had a little beep on my these little microphones. So anyways, I had this vest made for George Littlechild, whose Cree name is Nika Wasis. And so I wear this proudly because George Littlechild's muscles are way too big. But when I tour with George Littlechild, with Nika Wasis, he always reminds me that everybody has a sacred dancing child inside of them, and our responsibility is to always honor that sacred dancing child. So I want to sing this to you. This is Welcome Song for Baby, a lullaby for newborns. It should really be a lullaby for the sacred dancing child in each and every one of us. Now, you'll notice that here we have this beautiful photography, and this border is done by my friend Chris Paul, who is Sartlip, and he lives in Saanich, Brentwood Bay, right across from the Bouchard Gardens. And I've known Mr. Chris Paul since 1992. I was actually just on the phone with him a couple days ago. Isn't it great? I mean, the best part of the last 2 years is I've really just started picking up the phone and calling people that I really care about. And I have no shame in telling them that I love them, that I'm grateful for their friendship. And I hope you've been using this time to pick up the phone and call your loved ones and get each other laughing and tell each other how much you love them and care for them and that they're in your prayers and best thoughts. So this is Welcome Song for Baby, and I want to sing it to you. And it is just such a joy to be here this evening. Here we go. Welcome Song for Baby. Hey ya hey, hey ya hey, hey ya hey. Dear one, cherished one, loved one, you have made the world beautiful again. The sun rises for you, the earth welcomes you, we raise our hands to you. You have made the world beautiful again. We thought we knew what love was until the day we held you. We thought we knew what life was until the day we kissed you. Hey ya hey, hey ya hey, hey ya hey. You are sacred, you are precious, you are our future, you are our sacred responsibility. We will grow together, we will laugh together, we will feast together, we will learn together. So curl up now, curl up and sleep. All you have to do is grow.
You've already made our lives complete. You are a child of the universe, a caretaker for future generations. Walk gently, walk true. Share your gifts with the world. Share your light with the world. Share your love with the world. Share your life with the world. Your life is a song we shall sing together. Your life is a story we shall sing together. We live, we laugh, we love now in your honor. And for someone so small, you're about to change our lives. For someone so small, you are about to change our world. For someone so small, you're about to change the universe forever. Hey ya hey, hey ya hey, hey ya hey, ho. Masi Cho, thank you for listening. That's Welcome Song for Baby. That's on behalf of my family, including little Rodney and his little boy Shaden. I just want to say that I hope you are making the best of this time with your family and friends, and you're cranking the tunes, and you're having good days, and you're doing your best to help one another, and you're really reaching out when you need to. So this is, I want to read Little You, because I know that you're all receiving, not only are you receiving Little You, but you're receiving beautiful cookies that are locally made. And I really want to thank Angela Woods. I really want to thank this book club for including me. It's always an honor to be included as a storyteller, as a Northerner, as a writer. And this is really a beautiful dream come true for me, because I actually wanted to work with Julie Flett for 8 years. I'd been a huge fan of hers. I'd seen what she was doing with her own work, and she was illustrating several of my friends' books. And when I wrote Little You, I had her in mind. I thought, boy, I really hope that, Julie Flett, I know she's really busy. I really hope that she would say yes, because I really admire her work, just like I love George Littlechild's work as well. And to my surprise, I'll never forget when we got the email saying Julie Flett loves Little You and she wants to illustrate it. So I'm going to read it to you. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves. It's always a joy to read books to cousins, to relations, to Northerners. And I hope that this inspires you to start writing your own lullabies and love songs for your babies. I really encourage you to do that. And, when you get that little jingle or you get that idea for a lullaby, grab that piece of paper and write it down. I don't know if you've ever read A Man Called Raven, but that was written on the back of the yellow pages. I can't remember where I was, but I just grabbed the yellow pages and I wrote it down. Little You was actually written on a paper towel. I was in Yellowknife We Sang You Home was written in my mom's house on a paper towel with a pen. And this was actually written on my phone. I was actually at a Pearl Jam concert here in Edmonton when Little You came. And it took me 2 minutes, and I'm in awe that this little lullaby chose me. So sometimes stories, people say, how long does it take you to write a book? The Lesser Blessed novel took me 5 years to write. Little You took me 2 minutes. A Man Called Raven took me, I think, 2 days. What's the Most Beautiful Thing You Know About Horses took 5 days. So sometimes it can come quickly, but other times there are short stories I've worked on for over a year. But you can't rush a good thing. When something has chosen you, we have an obligation to really honor it. So this is Little You. And this is for all the little ones. Little You, little wonder, little wish, gentle thunder. You are mighty, you are small. You are ours, after all. Little star with little wings, let's all dance, let's all sing. You are life and breath adored. You are us and so much more. Little ember with growing light, feel our love as we hold you tight. You are the birth of everything new. You are perfect. You are you. Yay! So that's Little You. And in the future when we meet, if you have a copy of Little You, you come over and you say hi, and I'd be really proud to sign them for you and your family. So after we wrote Little You, I was really lucky to be at my mom's house in Yellowknife, and again, it was 40 below. This is a recurring story about every time I'm in Yellowknife. It always seems to be 40 below, but this came to me very quickly. We sang you home, and I'll tell you a little bit about this. So where I'm talking to you today is actually Treaty 6 country. I live in Edmonton. We love Edmonton very much. My wife Kiwi is here. Our little boy Adzazi's here, and we have lived in our home for 10 years, and we live by the Mill Creek Ravine. And when we moved into the house, we were in the house, just Kiwi and I, for probably the first 3 years. And then one night at 4 a.m, we were sleeping just down the hall in our room, and I had my arm over Kiwi. She calls it the lead arm. And I had my arm over her, and I was fast asleep, probably snoring into her ear, very romantic. And I had a vision. I had a vision. A vision is different than a dream. I had a vision. And I could see our house up on a hill. And trust me, we're in Edmonton. There are no hills in where I live. It's very flat where we live. It's very flat. But in this vision, our house was on a hill. And a little boy was standing outside wanting to come in. And it was our son. And he was wearing a little brown shirt, a little brown sweater. He looked exactly like this. I told this story to Julie Flett, and she illustrated this vision. So in this vision, this little boy was standing on his tippy toes and fluttering his hands like a little moth. And all he wanted to do was come home. All he wanted to do was fly into our lives and fly into our hearts and soar as the beautiful being that he is, as the full blessed miracle that he is. And in this vision, I was standing behind him. And I could see his beautiful cinnamon-colored skin. I could see his little ear. I could see his little sweater. And I wanted to see his eyes, but I didn't want to scare him. So I was standing behind this little boy who was standing on his tippy toes, looking at our house. And I could see his ear. I could see his cheek. I could see this beautiful dark hair. And as I got closer to him, I was just getting ready to see his eyes when I went... And I woke up, and I was holding my wife, and I woke her up at 4 a.m, and I said, "Sweetheart, we're going to have a baby. We're going to have a son." And I just saw him. He's got all 10 fingers, all 10 toes. He's so beautiful. Oh my goodness. And of course she started crying, and I started crying. Everyone started crying their heads off. And then 13 months later, he was actually born right across the hall. He was born in his own room. We had a water birth, and we had doulas and a midwife. And so I always say to my son, Mommy was the first to carry you for 9 months, and I was the first to hold you. And it's really interesting. I know as parents, it's amazing what our children will tell us. And when our little boy was 6, I was giving him a hard time. I was teasing him, and I said to him, "Little boy," I said, "why does Mommy get all the hugs and kisses and kooniks and cuddles? And you get the bed. I don't even get the bed. I sleep in his bunk in his room." I said, "Little boy, Daddy used to guard prisoners. Prisoners have bigger mattresses than Daddy. How come Daddy gets your room and you get the bed with Mommy?" And my son looked at me, and Zazie looked at me when he was 6 years old, and he said, "When Mommy was born, I was already in her tummy. I've known her longer." My jaw touched my chest. I couldn't believe my boy at 6 years old told me off. Probably not for the last time. I'm always humbled by how wise our little boy is. He knows who he is. He knows why he's here. He is a force, and I'm in awe every day. Every day I'm in awe. And I love when I get to hold his hand when we cross the road. So this is called "We Sang You Home." And again, this is a little lullaby for all the little babies that are with us and all the babies that want to be born. We sang you from a wish We sang you from a prayer. We sang you home, and you sang back. We give you kisses to help you grow, and songs to let you know that you are loved. As we give you roots, you give us wings, and through you we are born again. Our everyday miracle, our everyday smile, our forever home is inside of you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for choosing us. Thank you for becoming the best of all of us. We sang you home. Thank you for singing back. Welcome to the world. We love you. Yay! Mussy Cho, everybody. Thank you so much. Yay! I see Angela. Now, Angela, if you start crying, I'm going to start crying. My mascara's going to run. Don't you start.
Listen, there were moments. I have been talking to people behind the scenes. There were moments where people have been weeping and people have been sending me hearts and how fascinating this has been, and the stories that you've been teaching. I have goosebumps even talking about it. We're just so intrigued by you, and we're so thankful for your time with us. What I do want to do is give you the opportunity, if you still want to continue telling some stories, you can do that. Or if you would like to answer some of the questions that have been shared in the comment box, we can do that as well. And I do have some comments here that have been sent to me via email and text that I would also like to share with you too. So the court is yours. What would you like to do here?
You know, I'm a northerner and I love to gossip, so I want to visit. If you have any questions that you want to ask, that actually, I was saying, sometimes is the best part of a presentation, because northerners to northerners, let's visit, let's chat.
Yeah, and it's interactive, more interactive, and we get to speak and communicate a little bit more. And that's what this is all about. You know, the more we talk, the more we read, the more we share stories, the more our literacy develops too. So that's the whole point to all this. So the one thing that I do want to make note is somebody had said that they love this book so much that they would love to have a copy signed. So that's something that we can think about for the future as well. We'd love to have you up and visit in the future in person, you know, once time allots for that, and, you know, COVID restrictions, you know, leave and ease much more for us. But the other thing I do want to ask you is Julie Flett is your artist for your book, but we missed the pictures for the last book because we were reading it.
And here's why. So as I present to you, Angela, everything is backwards.
Yes.
And every time that I try and show
you're trying to
the photo, it doesn't work, and I keep messing up, and so I apologize. I just got tired of messing up, my friends. And
you didn't mess up. You did a great job.
Nothing. It's everything's in reverse, and I'm a Virgo, and it's driving me crazy. So I was having a mantrum about it, and I decided to be difficult. I'm so sorry. It's just, when I try and hold it up and it doesn't work, it just drives me crazy.
I think that's funny that you just said it.
Just like my 2 kids, it's driving me bananas today. It's all beautiful. Julie Flett is amazing. I'm in awe of everything that she touches. She's won the Governor General's twice. I'm sure she'll win it many more times. She's a living treasure, just like George Littlechild. And the best part of what I do is being able to work with my friends and heroes, people that I really admire, artists that I really admire, publishers that spare no expense. They work really hard to get something, because, you know, baby books and children's books, they're treasures. They're something that you pass on, that to not only to your children, but of course your grandchildren and other children that you adore. And, you know, if anyone would have told me when I was breakdancing in grade 8 in front of the Northern store on a fridge box, Richard Van Camp, you're going to be something. You're going to, 27 books in 27 years. You're going to be a writer training for North of 60, this great TV show. If anybody would have told me that any of this would have happened, I wouldn't have believed them. And that's why it really is a privilege to be here tonight and to share all this magic with you, all the sweet Fort Smith magic with you.
Well, we feel your gratefulness. I can feel it. And we're equally as appreciative to have you here. So I'm going to share, I guess, some questions with you from our comment box here. And then I'm going to bounce over to my text messages and some comments through emails and in person as well. So Joanne asks, were you inspired by the Pearl Jam concert to write Little You? or did that just happen to be where you were at the time?
Well, absolutely, yeah. So what happened was Pearl Jam was here in Edmonton, and Kiwi and I were on something called a date night. They're like unicorns. You hear about them every once in a while. We haven't had a date night in a very long time, and I'm not complaining. It's just that before Zazie was born and before the pandemic, we used to go out quite a bit and go to movies and concerts and restaurants. But before Zazie was here, we were at the Pearl Jam concert in Edmonton at Rexall Place. There's 26,000 people screaming their heads off. And then Eddie Vedder came out with the band and they opened with a couple of songs. And he stopped at probably around song 4, I believe. And he said, "Turn on the lights. I want to see all of you. Edmonton, Alberta, let me look at you." And they turned on all the house lights. And he says, "Edmonton, Alberta, I'm going to sing all night. We got 3 hours, I promise. But I can't sing another song to you until we call my daughter. It's actually my daughter's birthday, and we need to sing her happy birthday. I can't do another song until we sing happy birthday." And I remember he just asked for his phone, and this poor roadie came out with the iPhone 4 and plugged in, Eddie Vedder's phone into the main sound system, and he called his daughter, and this young lady answered the phone, just like, "Hello," and 26,000 of us were like, "Shh, shh, it's Eddie Vedder's daughter. It's her birthday." And he goes, "Hello, my girl." And she was like, "Daddy, you're supposed to be singing tonight. Where are you?" And he goes, "Edmonton, Alberta, Canada." And she goes, "Well, Dad, you're supposed to be singing. You're coming home tomorrow, right?" And he goes, "Yes, my girl, I'm coming home tomorrow. But sweetheart, I'm here with 26,000 of my best friends in Edmonton, Alberta. And it's your birthday. And I know you're with all your friends. But sweetheart, I just had to call and sing happy birthday. And we're all going to sing with you, to you." And he went, and he started to sing happy birthday. We all started singing happy birthday. And there wasn't a dry eye in the house. I mean, we're all bawling, 26,000 people all screaming their heads off and crying to this poor 8-year-old girl. And then little you was born. It came in a rush. And I remember my phone was the Palm 6. I don't remember if you remember the Palm 6. It's before the iPhone. Had the stylus pen. And as we're singing happy birthday, little you came to me. And I can't describe it. I can't explain it. That's been the history of my writing career. When it comes, it comes. And your job, of course, is just to show up, be the disciple, and write as fast as you can. It's when you write a book, you are being struck by the sweetest lightning there is. There's nothing in the world like it. It is a gift. It is an absolute gift from the divine when a story chooses you.
I think
That's it. And so I'm grateful. That's why I dedicated this to Eddie Vedder and his band.
goosebumps again. Everything that you say is just so like awe-inspiring, and just I think everything that a writer would like to feel on the inside, that you express. Oh, I see your boy there too coming in.
Rogers coming in.
Awesome.
So you'll notice when you open Little you'll see I've dedicated it to, beautiful children in their lives. There's my wife Kiwi, there's Zazie, but you'll see that I dedicated with thanks to Eddie Vedder and his beautiful band, because without Mr. Vedder and his band, it never would have happened. It had to be that moment, that time.
I love it, which makes this moment more special.
Yeah.
There's a deep story to it. I do want to read you a comment that is impactful here too by Jamie. She says, "Thank you, Richard. When my youngest son was born, I was reminded by a nurse before we left the hospital that there was a library, there it is there for you, where I could choose a book for my baby for free. I chose Little You without knowing anything about it, and I read it to my baby every day when he became a toddler, and I would say, 'Let's read.' He would grab Little You. We love your book so much. This is such a treat. Thank you."
Oh, Mussy Cho, Jamie. It's amazing I was on the phone yesterday with Julie Flett, and she's doing well. It just seems that everyone's doing well. And if you get a chance, her book Bird Song, it just brings tears to my eyes. Or her book with our dear friend David Robertson, When We Were Alone. I knew 3 pages in that they were going to win the Governor General's Award.
Mm-hmm.
She's a titan. She's a force. And to work with her is I'm not kidding. I wanted to work with her for at least 8 years before Little You came along. And I knew she was busy. And I think even Orca said, we're probably not going to get her because she's book solid. But she was moved by Little You. And it is the greatest thing in the world to work with friends and heroes. And and to be able to look out for new and emerging writers as well. That's also a huge privilege.
Yeah, we actually tried to contact Julie. She's so busy; her schedule is so full that she's unable to join us at this time. But hopefully, in future author series, if this happens,
you have to just be persistent and book her maybe a year in advance. And, yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, please go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say I have another question for you.
Sure.
And it's from Colleen. And she says, have you ever written any songs or books for elders?
We have. Yeah, we have a book. It's called, now you can't find it anymore, which really breaks my heart. It's called Our Stories Help the Northern Lights Dance. Our Stories Help the Northern Lights Dance. And it's down there. But I was asked to go and interview elders from Fort McKay and Fort Chip. And it was a beautiful project put on by the communities of Fort Chipewyan and Fort McKay. That was where I met Jameis Granjam and Flora Granjam and a lot of the really respected elders up there. And then George Littlechild was flown in after I was. He was so busy that he had to come in at a different time. And then we worked with the children of Fort McKay and Fort Chip so that they illustrated the children's book that their grandparents and great aunties and great uncles had given us the lyrics for. So if you ever get a chance, usually you have to go to a used bookstore. It's called Our Stories Help the Northern Lights Dance. And it's on my website. If you go richardvancamp.com, you'll get it was a beautiful project to work on, but you just can't find that book anymore. Yeah. So I live to interview elders. I live to listen, especially as a father, as a husband, as a human being. It really has been the teachings of the elders that I grew up with, like Irene Sanderson, Amelia Gatrix, Maria Brown, Helena Mandeville, Marlene Evans, Earl Evans, Kenny Hudson. Those are my icons. David King. Those are my. When I look back on my life, I wouldn't be the person I am had it not been for them. And really quickly, a long time ago, we were at a bush camp with Bernie Bergman, who was a great wildlife officer, and the late Laurie Hobart, who was our social studies teacher. Great, funny, hilarious teacher. And it was Bernie Bergman who gave me some words I'd like to share with you. And I know you know what I'm talking about, but I just remember we were caught in a windstorm and a snowstorm, and we ended up going into a trapper's cabin for the night. And the cabin, was open. All that he had as a lock was just a little piece of wood through the padlock. And we were caught completely off guard. We went racing into this cabin. There was a bunch of teenagers and 2 instructors. The wood stove was ready to go. All we had to do was drop a match. There was kindling in there and some newspaper, and all the wood was stacked and cut on the inside as well as on the outside. There was even a frozen can of beans. And this trapper must have known there was going to be a bunch of munyaos running around in the bush, not without a clue. And that trapper saved our bacons, because how would you set up a 12 by 14 canvas tent frame in a blizzard with a potbelly wood stove with no wood cut, everything soaked to the bone? So we ended up sleeping in this trapper's cabin all night. And then the storm cleared. And then the next day, Bernie Bergman and Laurie Hobart had us out cutting wood, stacking wood, hauling wood. We were able to dry out our sleeping bags, our parkas, our toques, our mucklucks. And we ended up restocking that potbelly wood stove so that if anybody else was caught in a blizzard, all they had to do was come in and then drop a match in that wood stove, and they'd have wood for days and a nice hot place to rest. And I remember just as we were leaving, Bernie Bergman wrote a note and said, on behalf of, the Fort Smith venturers, on this date, we used your cabin with utmost respect. We thank you. We were caught in a really bizarre blizzard, but Uncle, we've cut all the wood that we believe we used and more. We left a couple of cans of beans and instant soup for you. This is my number. Call me when you get into town. I'll buy you lunch. This is Bernie Bergman. And just great little note. And he got us all to sign it, like Ashley Mabbitt, Chris Heavyshield, Trevor Evans, Richard Van Camp, Roger Van Camp. And as we were leaving, he left this old trapper. Bernie Bergman had these suspenders for his snow pants, and he left them as a gift. And I said to him, I said, Bernie, I said, we left a note. We cut wood. we've swept out all the spruce boughs. We left cans of beans and stew, and haven't we done enough? And I remember Bernie Bergman, he looked at me and he said, Richard, a true Northerner always leaves each person in each place better than they found them. And I just never forgot that. I thought that was the classiest thing. And that's why when you go visit Northerners, we'll always bring gifts. Like, yesterday we had a visitor in the yard, and he said, just the longer I stay, my arms are always heavier. The longer I stay with all the gifts that you give. And I said, that's who we are. As Northerners, the joy is in the giving. We really are the hobbits of Canada.
I love it. I thank you for sharing that story. It is, very impactful for us. So I do have one question here with regards to your literacy journey.
Sure.
And Krista had texted this to me, and she said, "What is the greatest teaching you have learned in your literacy journey?"
As a reader or as a...
That was the question. So I'm just going to leave that, like, maybe you could do as a reader or as a writer.
Well, if I could just say something I was thinking about before we came on. So I was a writer trainee for the TV show North of 60, which was shot in Bragg Creek, Alberta. Every episode of North of 60 is on YouTube for free with full permission of the producers. And I was watching the pilot just the other day, and it was shot in Bragg Creek, Alberta. To be a writer trainee, they had us staying in Calgary, and they would pick us up at 8 a.m. and then drive us out to set. At 9 o'clock, we'd have lunch with the cast and crew. So Tom Jackson, Dakota House, Jamie Herman, just the late and great Gordon Tatusis and the late and great Jimmy Herman. So you'd be having breakfast with the stars and the writers and the directors and the producers. And I want to let you in on a little secret that I just realized recently. So when we would shoot an episode of North of 60, we would shoot an hour and 10 minutes for a 48-minute show. So even though North of 60 was on 7 to 8 p.m. on a Thursday night, it really is only 52 minutes because you have 8 minutes for intro, outro, and commercials. And so what would happen was we would shoot an hour and 10 minutes, and we would have the humor, the nuances, the accents, the comedy, the romance that Northerners have. We have an innate ability to laugh at, and to just make the best of things. But because this was a CBC show, it would be, a lot of that would be on the cutting room floor to make those 48 minutes. That would be the first to be cut, to make those 48 minutes, because CBC was buying a product. And to some extent, that's what they were selling, was what Canadian viewers were expecting. What I've come to realize, and this is such a great question, is that the beauty of Indigenous literature and the beauty of Indigenous cinema and the beauty of Indigenous storytelling is that we don't just give you the 48 minutes, we give you everything when we tell our own stories our own way. We don't have to leave anything on the cutting room floor. We can show the romance, we can show the nuances, we can show the quiet when somebody has been offended, or the Cree say tapway, when the truth has been told. That when people go after a truth has been told, that doesn't have to be on the cutting room floor. So the joy of my life as an Indigenous writer is being able to uplift often what was cut in the mainstream. That's really, see, you just made the tapway.
Yes. I love it.
You felt that. And that's the beauty of it, is we know who we are. We know what stories we want to tell. And it really is our time to tell them our way. And as Northerners, you get to see yourselves in the literature. You may not have come to Fort Smith, but you get the humor, you get the satire, you get the poking fun, the romance, the sensuality, the joy of being alive, the gratitude of being here. You feel it in the music and in the cinema and in the literature, whether it's baby books or short stories. And I can't wait to see who's going to do what next. I'm really excited for the filmmakers, the writers, the songwriters, the artists. So you're all Northerners. You better get on out there, because don't forget what David King said. Every person is born with medicine power. And our job in this life is to figure out what that medicine power is, develop it, and never be afraid to ask for help. And then you share your medicine with the world, because we need it more than ever. We really need your medicine. We need you healthy and strong. We need you healthy and strong, but we also want to see why you're here. What have you got to contribute? What do you have to share, right? As Indigenous people, as Northerners, the joy is always in the sharing, right? I can't stand showing up anywhere empty-handed. And if I do, I always, like I said, with Bernie Bergman, leaving each person in each place better than they found them. And I really look forward to coming up, Angela. I'd love to. If you ever have an outdoor signing opportunity, that would be great, because that's safer for everybody, right? I mean, I love Zoom because people who maybe are immunocompromised or live in smaller communities, they can join us. And in the future, when it's safer to do so, I mean, they're already talking about a fourth vaccine. I would love to come, and I would love to sign books and meet people and sit around and feast together outside. I think the answer to the pandemic has always been, there was an elder who said that when you walk on the land, you're walking on medicine. I've never forgotten that. And I think the answer to this pandemic is outside. The answers are outside. Stay outside, visit outside, feast outside, do your best, celebrate each other, but do it, be safe, be respectful.
Well, I certainly think that our future is looking like we should have you up here as a guest in person outside. I have people commenting, do you do Zoom for classes? It'd be awesome to have some outdoor classroom adventures, with you.
Well, if we're outside, I'll come up myself. I mean, I love where you live. I mean, I think that I really do think you live in paradise. I really do. Edmonton is gorgeous. Nothing beats where you are. You've got the best of the best up there.
Yeah, we're sure lucky. I'd have to agree. You've left us with some profound messages. I wrote down some quotes here. Your children pull you onto the dance floor of life, the sacred dancing child. Where there are frogs, there is water. Dragonflies and love medicine. Yep. And butterflies are the guardian for lost souls. So I think at the very least today, we left with some messages, we left with some stories. And that's the whole point to these presentations. The author series is to engage listening, engage conversations, create experiences with our families, with our cookies, by Evermore Cookie, our books, by our authors that we've invited to join us. And so with that, Richard, I'm going to let you have the floor for some closing words, and then I'll do a closing. And oh, look, we do have one more question before we go. Look, I see, is that a Lego Millennium Falcon behind you and a walker?
Elena, bless you for asking. It's not a Lego. It's actually the Millennium Falcon Legacy Edition. So it's the one with the whistles and the sounds and the lights. And the beautiful story is we have really dear friends, Bea and Candace, who own Cherry Bomb Toys in Victoria. And it's a great toy store, boutique. It's where grown men go to weep at how beautiful the toys are there. Anyways, they put on Facebook that they were quite worried that they weren't going to make rent. They were just having a really difficult month. And they said, if there's anything that you want, we'll sell it to you. We really are quite worried. And I picked up the phone and I called Bea and I said, Bea, I just read your post. I'll buy your Millennium Falcon, the Legacy Edition. And this is the Holy Grail. This right here. You're looking at the Holy Grail. And he said, brother, and I said, you want to make rent? I said, name your price. I said, I'll buy it off you. And so he said, okay, well, Richard, they go for, I actually can't remember, Elena, what I paid. It was a lot. It really was. And I said, I'll take it. And I said, and he goes, okay, well, I'll give you 30% off and free shipping. I said, no. I said, B, it's not a trip to Victoria, British Columbia. If you don't go to Cherry Bomb Toys, you got to make rent. I'll just charge. I don't care. Well, I don't care if it's 4 payments over 3 years. I need this Millennium Falcon, but I also, most importantly, need you to make rent. And they did. Apparently, everybody who ever wanted something called, and it was fans that saved that store that particular month. And so I can take it off. It's actually Kiwi, my wife, put it up because I have little math arms. They're only good for paying taxes and writing books. And I destroyed the drywall behind there. It was actually Kiwi who sent me for a long walk. And when I came back, she used a guitar holder because I think this weighs about 40 pounds. And it actually comes off. So if we were to pan left or right, you would see a ton of Star Wars toys because my boy and I, we play in here all the time. And we love Star Wars. We love Harry Potter. We're really into Lego now, Nico Knights and Ninjago. It's a lot of fun being a dad. I get to be, it's like another childhood for me. I'm really grateful to be a father. And I really do believe that it's the children, our children, who have been carrying us through this pandemic because they have given us purpose. They have given us light, the snuggles and the cuddles and the kisses and the hugs, just getting outside every day. I'm so grateful for our little ones. And all of you are in my prayers tonight, your children, your dreams, your health. I think another thing about this pandemic is may we never take our health for granted ever again. May we never take our health for granted ever again. Be grateful every day. I was just saying to a gentleman yesterday at Tubby Park, there's a whole bunch of us dads hanging around together while our kids were playing. And I said, I'm 50 now and I've never been happier. And they just couldn't believe I said that. And what are you talking about with the wastewater and the, everything else that's happening in the world? And I said, I've never been happier because I've never been more grateful. Every day to get up healthy, to be able to go shopping, to be able to cook, to be able to be present as a father and as a husband, as a friend, to just be here during this time and to witness the beauty of our little one in our little community here. And I know you have community where you are. Some of the kids that our boy plays with, I remember when they were in their mummy's tummies, and to see them becoming this beautiful, full miracle, to see them on their paths, to see their personalities, and you're just rooting for everybody, just to be happy and healthy and do what it is here that you are meant to do. I get to witness the full beauty of you. I feel like another baby book's coming on. I get to witness. Okay, I feel like somebody called Julie Flett. I think something's happening.
I love this.
That's how it happened.
How cool would that be if we could inspire you in this moment to write a new book?
Well,
we'll earmark this one.
Yeah, maybe 2 years from now, another baby book will be giving a little giveaway. But I really want to thank you for having me. I'm so grateful that you're all receiving a copy of Little You. Little You, of course, the story. It is a dream. No one's more surprised than me that I wrote it. That's the best part of being a disciple to the craft of writing, is that when you are chosen to write something and you show up and you honor the spirit of that story and what it wants to become, it is just something that is magnificent to be able to look back and go, son of a gun, maybe I was paying attention all those times when I was in the presence of these master orators like David King and Helena Mandeville and Amelia Gatrix and Irene Sanderson, Fort Smith royalty. I wouldn't be who I am had it not been for growing up in good old Fort Smith. So I hope that all of you are taking the time to record your elders, get those recipes down, digitize those photos, share them, digitize those home movies. If you go to richardvancamp.com, I have a YouTube channel. I've been, with permission, digitizing old drum dances from the 90s, tea dances. If you go to Richard Van Camp on YouTube, I found a video of my late grandmother, Melanie Washi, singing a love song, a Clicho DENE love song. And we have that forever. We have it forever. So I hope you are using this time to reclaim those family medicines, reclaim those songs, those lullabies, again, recipes. And beautiful family pictures, digitize them, share them, don't wait. I'm going through old yearbooks. Some of my friends I've known for 45 years. I got pictures of them when they were 5 years old. And so I'm famous for, every phone has a super HDR scanner. I've been scanning old yearbooks and sending pictures to my friends on Messenger, and they don't have them. Some people don't have pictures of themselves. They've never seen some of these photos before. What a beautiful gift. What a beautiful gift.
Definitely. Well, Richard, I think our time is up now. We're, not up, but I think we're going to extend it eventually with you getting up here. But our time is up for this evening. Again, we're super grateful for you coming and presenting with us, sharing your stories, sharing your life journey and your experiences, your quotes that are going to remain with us. Everybody just is saying that it's been so wonderful and that thank you for making this event possible. So with that, I would like to thank all of you for joining online and participating as well. We're thankful that you were able to be here. And we look forward to you joining us again in the future. We have 3 other authors that are going to be joining us. One is going to be on Monday, April 24th at 6 p.m. Her name is Monique Grace Smith with Hold Me Up. And then we have 2 more authors after that, Danielle Daniels with Sometimes I Feel Like a Fox, and Ron Jambier, who is local to the Fort McMurray area, I guess the Athabasca Tribal Council, with Saki Sak and the Squirrel. So be sure to stay connected to ATC's online platforms, Facebook and the website, to sign up in advance so that you can get a copy of these books as well and some cookies to enjoy while you're reading it from Evermore Kookies. And so with that, good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Joanne. Masi cho, everybody. You're all in my prayers. I'm going to say a big prayer for everyone tonight, just for your health, your abundance, for your dreams. And again, Masi cho. Thank you so much for having me. Bless you all. Have a great night. Bye-bye.